Hello friends, in the last session we saw the two ways of specifying the commands inside the Dockerfile. Now friends, in this session we will discuss about another important Dockerfile instruction, which is Dockerfile env instruction. So friends, the job or work of the env instruction is to pass the environment variables to the Docker containers. And friends, the way of specifying the env instruction inside the Dockerfile is very simple, which is like env keyword and then the variable name and then the variable value. So friends, for example, to specify the environment variable with name person name, we will write env and then the variable name, which is person name, and then the variable value, which is the actual name of the person. Now friends, if multiple environment variables are needed to be specified for one Docker container, then there are two options or two ways to achieve this. And the first one is by specifying one env instruction for defining one environment variable. So in this case, if suppose there is a requirement to specify 3 environment variables, then 3 env instructions are needed to be written inside the Docker file. Now friends, the second way of defining multiple environment variables can be done by specifying one env instruction for defining multiple environment variables. So friends, in this case, all the 3 environment variables can be written inside one env instruction like this. And here friends, each pair of environment variable is separated by a space as a delimiter, and the variable name and the variable value inside each pair is separated by equal to operator. Now friends, out of these two ways, it is always recommended to use the second way, that is to write the multiple environment variables in one env instruction. As friends, if we will add one env instruction per each variable, then in that case each environment variable will end up in adding one env instruction inside the Docker file. And friends, as we learned that each Dockerfile instruction which is written inside the Docker file adds one image layer to the Docker image. So friends, if there are more env instructions, then there will be more image layers. And if there are more image layers, then it means the size of the Docker image will be more. And hence, to keep the image size as small as possible, it is then always recommended to put multiple environment variables inside one env instruction. Now friends, one more thing to notice over here in the env instruction is that if the variable value contains the space in between, then we need to specify the value in double quotes, as we can see here in case of person name, where there is a space in between the first name and last name, and so we have specified it in double quotes. So friends, now let us see the demo for the env instruction. And again we will understand this by taking a very simple Docker file. So friends, for this I have already copied one of the previous Docker file and kept inside the folder env1 inside G drive of my system. So let us open that Docker file. So this is the env1 folder friends. So let us go inside this folder and let us open this Docker file here. And here we can see friends, the only new thing which I have put inside this Docker file is this env instruction. And then inside the entry point instruction, we are executing the echo command, where we are just displaying the message by using the environment variables which we defined in the env instruction. And here we can see friends that we have used the dollar symbol and then the environment variable name to evaluate the environment variable value inside the entry point instruction. So friends, now let us go to the command line terminal and let us create a Docker image and run the container from this Docker file. And here now let us first go to the Docker file location, which is cd and then g:\docker files and then the env1 folder. And now friends, let us build the Docker image using docker build command. So docker build -t. And here let us give the image identification as env image1 and then finally the dot symbol. And now let us press enter to execute this command. And with this, here we can see friends that the Docker image got built successfully. So now let us run the Docker container from this image. So docker run -name equal to container name. and we have given the container name as env container1 this time, and then the image name, which is env image1 in our case. And now let us press enter to execute this command. And here we can see, friends, that we got the output as message, which we gave in the entry point instruction. And also we can see that the variable names are successfully substituted by their values in this output. And so, friends, this means that the environment variables given inside the env instruction got defined successfully inside the Docker container. So friends, with this we have seen one simple example of env instruction. Now friends, let us see another example of env instruction where we will execute a ping command using the environment variable defined inside the env instruction. So friends, for this again I have made the small changes needed in the existing Docker file and copied it to the env2 folder in my machine. So let us open the Docker file. So here we can see, friends, the only new thing which is added over here in this Docker file is this line number 4, where we are just installing the ping packages so that we can use the ping command inside the Docker container, as friends, by default the Ubuntu base image does not contain the ping package. And then friends, we are declaring the two environment variables using the env instruction. The first one is the ping variable, which is defining the ping command, and the second one is the URL variable, which is defining the URL which needs to be pinged. So in our case, friends, the URL which we have defined here to ping from this Docker container is www.google.com. And then friends, at last we have the cmd instruction where we are just executing the ping command using the defined environment variables. So friends, as this Docker file is ready, so now let us go to the terminal again and let us build the image and start the Docker container from this Docker file. And here let us go to the Docker file location first. So cd and then g:\docker files and then the env2 folder. And now friends, let us build the image from this Docker file using docker build command. So docker build -t, and here we have given the image identification as env ping img and then finally the dot symbol. So now let us press enter to execute this command. And here friends, as we are installing the ping package inside the Docker image, so it will take little time to build this Docker image this time. So let me forward this session till the time this image gets built. And now friends, the image got built successfully. So let us run the Docker container from this image. So docker run. And here let us specify the -d option this time to run this container as a background process. And then the -- name equal to container name. So let us give the container name as env ping con. And then finally the image identification, which is env ping img in our case. So friends, with this the docker run command is ready now. So let us press enter to execute this command. And here we can see, friends, that our container got started successfully. And now friends, as we have started this container using -d option, so to see the output of the ping command, we need to see the logs of this container. So let us execute the docker logs command. So docker logs and then the container name, which is env ping con in our case. And now friends, to see the ongoing logs, we can also specify the -f option in the docker logs command, where -f means the logs follow up. So let us specify the -f option here in this docker logs command. And now let us press enter to execute this command. And here friends, we can see the ongoing logs for this container, where we can see the continuous output of the ping command which is executing inside the cmd instruction. So now friends, let us press Ctrl+C key on the keyboard to terminate this docker logs command. And let us go inside this docker container using the interactive mode options. Docker exec -it for interactive mode, and then the container name, which is env ping con in our case. And then at last we need to specify the shell. So let us specify the bin bash shell. And with this command's execution, friends, now we are inside the Docker container. So let us verify here whether the environment variables which we specified inside the Dockerfile are present inside this Docker container or not. So friends, for checking the environment variables in any Ubuntu machine, we need to execute the env command. So let us execute the env command here inside this Docker container. So env, and then let us press enter. And here we can see, friends, that there are so many environment variables, and among these we can also see the environment variables which we defined in the env instruction. So this is our ping var environment variable, and this is our URL var environment variable. Now friends, for those who are still wondering what is env command, so let me tell you that env is a command in Linux operating system which is used to display all the environment variables present inside that machine. Also friends, if you want to see the environment variables in the Windows machine, then the corresponding command in Windows machine is set. So let us see that as well. So let me open the command prompt in my Windows machine. And now let us execute the set command here. And here we can see, friends, the list of all the environment variable present inside this Windows machine. So friends, with this we have seen the Dockerfile env instruction in details in this session. Now friends, before moving to learn the remaining Dockerfile instructions, let us first learn another important concepts about Docker, which is Docker volumes, from the next session. So friends, see you in the next session. Till then, take care, tata, bye bye.